Crazy Red Emu here with a new video. As I've mentioned before, I'm trying my hand at other styles of videos just for fun. This particular one, as you can tell from the title, is ASMR. I do personally use ASMR to help me sleep, and it is very nice. I don't really get the tingles they talk about, but the sound helps me sleep. Also, Bob Ross. This particular ASMR video, I'll simply be dusting off and perhaps talking about a few Godzilla figures. There's another person who does something similar, and I'll provide a link to her channel, as I feel it's probably gonna continue doing these and not have, whereas this is just a one-off. Up first is the MonsterArts 1954 Godzilla. For those who do not know, MonsterArts is a highly detailed, highly articulated line of Godzilla toys. I am really fond of them, and I have almost all of them, short of a few recolors. The person I mentioned before who does a similar type of videos, she's the one that gave me the idea to use a makeup brush to dust off figures, and it works great. I highly recommend any collectors who have a problem with dust to buy one. I got this for $1 at the dollar store. Watching those famous ASMR people, they got some expensive equipment, don't they? All I got's a $5 tripod I stuck my camera on. But I think it does alright. Now, the first Godzilla movie was not the first one that I watched as a child. I believe the first one I ever saw was Godzilla vs. Gigan. However, I did, of course, see 1954 Godzilla. Alrighty. I think you're pretty clean for now. You may be able to tell, but this is also a 1954 Godzilla. However, this one is made by Neca. Neca is less detailed and slightly less articulated, but is the second best when it comes to these kinds of figures, in my experience. There's a few companies that also make some, like Chogokin, but they don't make them regularly, as far as I can tell. And they're kind of hard to get hold of. The thing about NECA is it's cheaper, which is nice for the poorer collectors who like Godzilla. As other people have pointed out, NECA Godzillas look more like the suit, whereas the MonsterArts looks, they take some artistic liberties to make it more, I can't say realistic, but more like an actual monster and less like a guy in a rubber suit. This one does have a loose ball joint. This is kind of turning into a review, isn't it? But that's okay. A windstorm's going on today. It sucked one of the window panels right out of the frame. I went to the hardware and bought a cheap plexiglass panel to replace it for now. This here is the 1962 Godzilla from Godzilla vs. King Kong. I do not like that movie, as Godzilla loses to a ape. Ugh. As far as this figure goes, it's pretty good. It's also MonsterArts, like the first one. It just recently came out, so it ain't really gonna be very dusty. Perhaps you can hear the joints. And perhaps I should set a towel down so the brush doesn't sound so loud when I set it on the table. Fortunately, this is a one-time video, and I don't have to worry about it after this. Look at that tail, though. That's a beautiful tail. Can you hear it? In the movie, this Godzilla loved to flap his arms like this. I don't know why. You know, the hands are not on upside down. That's how they were. I was almost wondering if they put the wrong hands on when they shot the first scene or something. But enough about him. He's a loser. This is 1964 Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Mothra. You may also know it as Godzilla vs. The Thing. Don't worry, folks. It's a ball and socket joint. It pops right back on. This Godzilla also loses, but it's not to an ape, so it's not that bad. If this video does end up being popular, I may make another ASMR video. I won't lie, I do like clicks and views and thumbs ups and all that glorious YouTube dopamine hits. I think that's the right term. If it's not, I don't really care. It probably won't. Not when there's someone who does these videos. Oh, there is another person. I forgot about her. She has the, I think they're the X Plus figures. They're statues, but they're ginormous. I've seen a couple in the thumbnails. I didn't watch them though. She has like Mothra and King Ghidorah, I think. Those are expensive figures. Also nice that this brush can get between these plates and get that little crevice in there. You may be thinking this figure looks very familiar. Well, that's because it is. It is a repaint of that Godzilla, the 1964. Basically, that Godzilla had been buried. That Godzilla at the end of his movie had got buried under the sea. The sea was later drained. I'm not sure how, but Godzilla was under the dirt. And when it got drained, he burst back out and he was covered in dust. So it's very hard to dust this figure because it's painted on. That's a little joke. And yes, I did pay money to get a slightly dustier version of a toy I already had. But that's... Actually, I take that back. I got him second. So I paid money for a clean version. I forgot about that. But enough about this Godzilla. It's at this point I realized I should have written down, because I forget the exact year that this one came out. I want to say 1984. It's the 80s. This was the first reboot of the Godzilla franchise. In this movie, the only other movie that was considered canon was the first one. It's a decent movie. It's not one of my favorites, but it's not bad. I tend to favor the corny movies, honestly. My all-time favorite one is Godzilla Final Wars, and if you're a Godzilla fan, you know it's basically they took the corny movies and made them edgy, and I loved it. This Godzilla, for some reason, would follow flocks of birds around because it wanted to migrate, apparently. And they used that sound to lure him out of the city. It didn't quite work. They also, I think, poisoned him with some sort of bio weapon. That also didn't work. It's been a while since I watched that movie, so I can't tell you. Oh, a lot of Dr. Pepper in that movie, however. Maybe I'll make a second episode of ASMR where I don't do any talking. It'd make my job a lot easier, because I'm lazy like that. Although I must admit, this is kind of fun. Alright, guys. A blast. This is... Oh, I forgot to mention Neca, which you probably could have told already because it's a bit shinier than the MonsterArts. This is also Neca. This is a slight retooling, as you can see by the plates. This Godzilla pays homage to the Nintendo Godzilla video game. I only played that once, and I don't own it, surprisingly. It was kind of hard to play. I couldn't figure it out as a kid, because there was these octagon things that you moved around on, and nah. You fought Mothra, and there was a giant cuttlefish. Can you hear that wind outside? It's still blowing around. I also see, when I go to looking up ASMR videos, a lot of weird ones. Like, what's up with that? I'm almost afraid to click on them. Or the eating ones, those gross me out. Ugh. working on my other videos, I've kind of tried to teach myself not to go, or smack my lips. Now, here I am doing an ASMR video. Ironic, isn't it? If you would like me to do another one of these videos, let me know in the comments, or as much as I'd hate to say it, like this video. I apologize for that. But it would be kind of neat to have a more popular video that isn't a music video. So, with that aside, that's it for this video. I hope to see you again in perhaps either an ASMR, or I also want to do a Let's Play or a playthrough. Definitely not a speed run. I am not good at that. So anyway, this is Crazy Red Emu signing off.